Hey, what is going on, guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video we're going to be going over everything you need to know about the reworked Volibear. So everything from key combos, tips and tricks, best runes, builds, ability maxing, matchups. So by the end of the video you'll be set up to have the most success possible when you take the reworked Volibear into ranked. So if we start things off here by going over a couple key combos that you need to know, your W and your Q are both auto attack resets, so really keep this in mind when you're dueling your opponent. If you're just going for a straight up all-in duel against the opponent throughout the laning phase or something, then you can just be weaving in auto attacks between these abilities to get maximum damage off. Now for your full all-in combo in the early game, what you'd be looking to do is, if you're just straight up dueling the opponent, you look to use your E, throw an auto attack in there, use your Q for the auto attack reset, then auto again, use your W for the auto attack reset, and then continue to auto to proc your passive there. So that's just a pretty standard combo if you're looking to duel with Volibear. Now a lot of the time though, you're not going to be able to take advantage of the Q auto attack reset because you're going to use the first activation of your Q to charge towards the opponent. Your basically quick burst combo throughout the early game here is use your first activation of your Q, charge towards the opponent. As you get close to them, you use your E, then you use your Q stun, and immediately after your stun hits, you use your W as that reset, and that's just a really quick burst trade throughout the early game. Also keep note that your Q does work on towers, so when you are pushing with this champion, you can use that Q as an auto attack reset in order for you to get a lot of damage off on towers very quickly. Your W does not work on towers though, it only works as an auto attack reset on champions, so just keep that in mind, especially once you do get like Trinity Force on Volibear, and if you run Demolish on him as well, you can do a ton of damage to towers in a very quick succession. Now, I feel like the one thing a lot of players are messing up on right now with the reworked Volibear is just their E usage. A lot of players are just using this kind of just randomly for no reason, or they're just using it way before they even get close to the opponent, and then it's very easy for the opponent to just very easily walk away from it. If you're able to gap close to the opponent, if you're able to use your Q and you're able to get the stun off on them, then you want to wait to use your E until you get very close to the opponent with your Q. Reason being is because if you get the stun off with your Q and you use your E like right before that, it's going to guarantee that your E hits there, so you're going to get the damage, you're going to get the slow off from your E after, and it's just going to allow you to deal maximum damage there if you're looking to gank or if you're looking to trade in the laning phase. And then once you hit the level 6 here, what a full burst all-in combo would look like is using your ultimate and your E at the exact same time, jump onto the opponent, use an auto Q W right after you Q, and that's going to give you just a lot of burst damage in a very short period of time. Now when you hit the level 6 with this champion, your dive potential is insanely strong because you do have that Ohm Wrecker with your ultimate there, so you can disable the tower for 2 seconds. So definitely look to call over your jungler whenever you do hit level 6 with Volibear. Look to make a dive play on the opponent, especially if they're chunked out a little bit. If you've gotten them to like half HP, then it's very free kills under the opponent's tower there, so just look to take advantage of that on the champion. So that's really all you need to know for combo wise tips and tricks before you pick up the reworked Volibear. He's a pretty straightforward, pretty simple champion for the most part, so it's probably only going to take you maybe 5 to 10 games to really start to get the hang of him and start to understand how to play him well. So let's move on now to taking a look at the best setups right now for reworked Volibear. We're going to first start off by taking a look at the top lane build. So there's a couple different options right now. Trinity Force Rush does seem to be the most consistent rush item on him at the moment. This is the one that a lot of pros are going for as well right now. Licorice has been going for this every single game on his Volibear. He's been going for the Trinity Force into the Titanic Hydra there. That's going to be your really good snowball build. If you want to have a carry oriented build, if you want to be dealing a lot of damage, then try into Titanic is a good setup for this reworked Voli. Now you do have the option there to go for a Trinity Force into tank, so going into a Sunfire Cape second, Spirit Visage third, or you can interchange those depending on the game, right? So if the enemy team is more heavy AP, you can go for Triforce into Spirit Visage. If they're heavy AD, you can go for Triforce into Sunfire Cape. And there's also a full tank setup there, so you can just go for a Sunfire Cape Rush into a Thorn Mill. If the enemy team is like very heavy AD or something, or if you're just lacking a tank, or if you just want to play full tank Volibear, it's definitely viable. You can go for this setup on him, but I do think that if you're looking to carry with this champion in solo queue, it's a lot better to go Trinity Force Rush in most of your games, just so that you do have a little bit more damage there, so that you do have a bit more carry threat when you are playing this pick. Now for the runes on the champion, there's 3 different pages going around at the moment for top lane Voli. There's either Press the Attack, Conquer, or Grasp the Undying. So you can experiment with all 3 of these, see which one fits best for your playstyle. But for the Press the Attack page there, you do have the ability to proc that very quickly. You got the auto attack resets in your kit, so you're going to be able to get 3 stacks of Press the Attack, get that extra damage very fast with this champion. So it's a pretty strong rune on him. Conquer is the one that most players are going for at the moment. It's what most pros are doing. So if you just want one default page that you can look to run for every single game, then you can look to run the Conquer there. And then for the Grasp page there, if you're up against a melee matchup to where you think you're going to be trading a lot in the laning phase, you're going to be autoing, getting a lot of Grasp procs, then you can look to run this. Don't look to run Grasp if you're in a range matchup. Definitely look to run the Conquer there if you're up against a ranged top laner, but in certain melee matchups, Grasp is definitely a very good option. And then for the rest of your runes there, if you're taking the Precision Tree as your primary, the Triumph, the Tenacity, the Last Stand are all very consistent on him at the moment. You can get away with running Alacrity instead of the Tenacity if the enemy team comp doesn't have a lot of crowd control, but the way League is right now, most games there's going to be a pretty decent amount of crowd control, so it's almost always best to run Tenacity on a champion like Voli who can be kited pretty easily. For your secondary runes there, there's a lot of different options. If you're in a very easy matchup, if you think you're going to be able to snowball, then you can go for like Demolish, Bone Plating to give yourself some better dueling potential, better tower taking threat in the early game. If you're in a more difficult matchup though, if you just want to be able to sustain through the early game, then going for the second wind there, the Revitalize, really good option as well. So you can definitely look to switch up a lot there with your secondary runes. So if we move on to breaking down the jungle build now for the champion, Cinderhulk Rush seems to be pretty consistent for every single game right now. There's some players that are going warrior. You can make it work, but if you do go warrior into something like Trinity Force, you are going to be pretty squishy. You're not going to be able to really absorb a lot in team fights, and that's what you want to be doing most of the time with this new Volibear. You want to be like a disruptor in fights. You want to be soaking a lot of damage there. So it just seems like pretty much full tank Voli is the way to go on the champion at the moment. So if you do want to build a little bit of damage though, if you still want to have some carry threat or you're snowballing throughout the early game, you can look to go for a Trinity Force there as your second item into a Dead Man's Plate. If the enemy is pretty heavy AP, you can go for a Spirit Visage second. You can also like go for a Wit's End as well. If they're like super heavy AP, you can go for something like Cinderhulk into Spirit Visage and then Wit's End. If they're pretty mixed damage though, then a Spirit Visage into a Dead Man's Plate is really good on him. And if they're very heavy AD, if they have like a full AD composition, you can go for a Cinderhulk into a Righteous Glory and then a Dead Man's. Give yourself some really good engage potential as well with that build setup. Now for the jungle rune setups, there's 2 pretty optimal pages at the moment. There's either the Aftershock or the Conquer. Now the Conquer, if you're looking for more of a damage oriented setup, you can stack it up very quickly with Volibear. You got the auto attack resets in your kit there, so you're gonna get an almost instant 10 stacks, makes it very strong on the champion. Aftershock is completely viable though as well if you're just looking for a more tankier setup. If you just want to be able to absorb a ton of damage in fights, then Aftershock is very strong. So look to try out both pages on the pick. Both pages can be very strong for him. And then for the secondary runes there, going into the sorcery tree, taking Nimbus Cloak and Water Walking just seems to be the most optimal secondary page, no matter what primary page you're running. It's just really good on Volibear because he is very easily kiteable still. That is still one of the main weaknesses to the champion. So by taking Nimbus Cloak and Water Walking, it just allows for you to stick onto your target a lot easier. Now for your ability maxing on the champion, a lot of players are messing this up at the moment. If you're playing top lane Volibear, you want to be starting your E at level 1, take your Q at level 2, and then your W at level 3. For jungle Volibear, you want to start your W level 1, E level 2, and then your Q at level 3. If you are for some reason, if you want to look for a level 2 gank on your Volibear jungle, then you can take your Q at level 2 instead of your E there. But if you're just looking to clear, it's definitely more worthwhile to take your E at level 2 on jungle Voli. For your full ability max though, W max first, Q second, and then E last is what's doing best right now for both top lane and jungle Voli. Now for jungle Volibear, some players are doing Q max first and then W second. That can definitely work on him as well, so you can look to experiment a little bit with it, but most pros right now are going for W first, Q second, and then E last. And then let's round things out here by just talking about his matchups a little bit. Some of the best bans you can look to use if you are playing first for top lane Volibear. So top lane Voli, if you're going up against like any ranged top laner, those are usually his hardest matchups because he still can be very easily kited. So champion like Quinn or Teemo, very annoying matchups. So you can look to ban out one of those two. Alawi is also a very difficult matchup. If you try to engage on her, she just uses her E. She wants you to get on top of her. That's where Alawi does thrive, and Volibear can't really look to do anything in that matchup because of that. Jax is also somewhat difficult matchup, same thing with Urgot there. So those are 5 champions that I definitely look to consider banning if you're playing top lane Voli. And then for best bans, if you're playing them in the jungle, honestly, really any jungle pick that has a lot of disruptive tools in their kit, that has a lot of CC or good kiting potential, is very difficult for Volibear to deal with. So I think the Trundle, the Kayn, the Warwick, the Kindred, all very good picks into him. The Fiddlesticks right now is just an absolutely broken jungler. So honestly, I'd probably just be using my ban on him for this patch because he's just way too strong at the moment. Alright, so that is going to be all for this video, guys. Hopefully this does help you out and give you a pretty good idea now as to how you can look to play this reworked Volibear. If you guys did enjoy this video, then be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have yet to already. So thanks for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.